So moving on from the Myers-Briggs type indicator, we're now looking at the Big Five personality traits. This is used a lot more in academic research as it's a little bit more sounder than the Myers-Briggs, which is definitely more practical. So what are the Big Five personality traits? First of all, openness to experience. Are you inventive and curious? Are you more constant and cautious? Those who are more open to experience in the inventive side are those who like to come up with new ideas, who like to be creative, who like to be innovative. Think Tony Stark, think Iron Man, really thinking outside the square and outside the box. On the other end of the spectrum, that sort of constant and cautious, they're willing to incremental change. Not against change altogether, but slow and steady, not completely over-the-top change. Conscientiousness. Are you efficient and organised? Are you easygoing and careless? The conscientious ones among you will show self-discipline, will aim for achievement, and prefer to be really planned, where the easygoing, happy to be spontaneous, go with the flow, see what happens. So in a group situation, just imagine when you've got someone who's very efficient, very organised, going with someone who's very easygoing, she'll be right, she'll be apples. You can see conflicts happening there. Can you think of how that links back to the MBTI? Extroversion, so outgoing and energetic, and solitary and reserved. Have a think about this. This is different from the Myers-Briggs that we talked about. Remember, Myers-Briggs was about your own energy. This is very much about being loud, being outgoing, the sort of extroversion that you might be more familiar with. So you might have got an introversion on the Myers-Briggs, and you might have got extroversion on the Big Five test. Take a look at the questions. You might be an introvert who does love being around people, who does at times like to be the centre of attention. So although you might have got an introvert on the Myers-Briggs, you might end up getting an extrovert on this. Could be a good thing to talk about in your assignment. Agreeableness. Think about how you are with people. For those of you who accommodate others, who really put others' needs before your own, sometimes to your detriment, you might be really high on this agreeableness scale. So really compassionate, really friendly, looking after people. If you don't mind ruffling a few feathers and getting up in people's grill, then maybe you're on that sort of low agreeableness side. So you're a little bit more antagonistic, you're a little bit more suspicious of others. And finally, within the Big Five personality test, we have neuroticism. So think about this is sort of moody, where the mood goes from up and down, can get stressed easily, gets a little anxious. On the other end of the spectrum, you've got emotional stability, people who are secure and confident, being, three little Fonzies. So how do we use this in business? Well, we use it to measure the fundamental dimensions of personality and understand where people lie. It highlights any of your dominant personality traits, especially if you're a long way over one of the different personality traits. It can be used for all job categories, and it can be used for any level of recruitment, both lower levels and higher levels, and also in sort of internal evaluations to see where you're sitting compared to your peers. The big thing about using these personality tests is that when your personality doesn't fit the job, everyone loses. So essentially why we use these is to have a personality and job fit. When the person fits with the job, generally performance is great, creativity is great, the employee is happy, you're going to work, you're being involved, and you're getting the most out of it. So the Big Five personality trait can really help us in understanding who fits with what roles and who fits with what teams. So that's a really big part of this. If you're worried about how you're going to remember the Big Five, openness to experience, conscientiousness, extroversion, agreeableness, and neuroticism, spells ocean, O-C-E-A-N.